My, 29, gf. 28, stashed away 1/3 of her income and made me subsidize her for 3 years. I feel like an absolute idiot being played like this, but here we are. My girlfriend and I have been in a relationship for 4.5 years and living together for just a little less than 3 years. We also got engaged recently and with a plan to get married next year. Things have been wonderful and I honestly thought she was the one and also an amazing person all around. At least that's what I thought before all this. When we first moved in together we ran down through our finances how we should deal with financial matters. At the time I was making 45 kelvins while she was making 20 kelvins. She was actually making 28 kelvins but told me that the lower value. We decided our expenditure according to those and I paid for most of the stuff since my income was greater than hers. In the last 3 years I have gone up to making 65 kelvins while she did 23k, in reality 32k. When we sitting down and planning for our future together she told me she wanted to confess something and then went ahead and told me that she lied about her income for the last 3 years and saved 22k. I told her that was feed up and she effectively made a buck of me by saving her income and using me to subsidize her living. I told her that I consider this financial abuse and she got a little defensive. For now her solution to this that I spent 22k unfairly on her so I can have it and we can forget about this. I have thought about this but I don't think taking money from her is going to make me feel better because I always thought of my money as ours and once if we get married it will be ours legally anyways. The options that I have thought about are me taking the money from her and just letting it go so we can move forward, taking the money to compensate my losses and then breaking up with her or just break up with her. All of the above seem wrong, unnecessary to some extent. She has been apologetic but I don't know how sincere it is given that she is capable of lying to this extent and mooching of her partner. Thinking about the staying together option after this financial betrayal, I think new boundaries will definitely need to be created such as we moving towards a more 50-50 approach to expenses and keeping our financial separate moving forward. This does seem on the extreme side but before this I thought of us financially and now I'm thinking about me. I have not been able to talk about this to anyone since I don't have any family who live nearby and even though I have good friends here, they are not who I would share this information which has made this more difficult than it needs to be. What's the right course of action in your guys' opinion? Thanks in advance. Edit. I'd like to add that she transferred the money to me. I am at work so we'll talk to her about this when I get home because we never formally decided what to do with the money. Thanks for the responses though. From the post it sounds like it's not about the money but the fact she lied about it and if she is willing to lie about that what else will she lie about and a valid point. She lied to you, for years. Regardless of what happens next do you think you will trust her again? I just don't personally see how you could come back from this. If she was worried that finances wouldn't be split evenly and she wouldn't be able to save anything she should have talked to you about that. You guys aren't married, you could have worked out whatever arrangement was best for both of you. She lied though, for 3 whole years. 3 years is a long time to manipulate your partner and take advantage of them financially. Math indicates she shorted you more than 22k. You laid all this out. But do you want to commit your life to someone who would plan out and execute this kind of long-term fraud against you? You were already openly willing to contribute more to a dating relationship. She decided she wanted that and a walk-away nest egg. I would at a minimum hold off any talk of engagement and get into some radical honesty. As well as some counseling, mediation and potentially individual therapy for her. I think a lot of it would have to hinge on her perspective. You say she's apologetic but doesn't seem to grasp the severity of destroyed trust. If she's not wanting to do some serious rebuilding from the position of having to earn trust back, you should walk away. I understand. Once my trust is gone it is gone. That is why I suggested her trying to figure out her reason behind those actions and possible counseling to see if it is something you are able to move past depending on the real reason for her actions. Wish you both the best, and that if things can be worked out that they are, and if they can't that it saved you from future problems. Good luck, and God bless. Financial abuse is a thing. In my experience, people who lie about money will lie again about it. I learned this the hard way. Lies about money are just as damaging and betraying as lies about sex, in my experience. Know this is a runaway moment. Why did she feel the need to lie and deceive you for 3 years? If she wouldn't have said anything and you got married, come tax time everything would have come out and it would be worse. My parents hate my hair and it's making me upset. I'm a 16 male. I'm black as well. I didn't want to include my race, but it makes the story more understandable. And I've grown my hair for over 6 months, so I've gotten used to my hair and I've spent a lot of money on products for my hair. My dad hates my hair and calls it bushy but doesn't realize that this is how my natural hair grows. He says that I've changed and I'm more immature for having my hair in an afro. He also says things like I have an attitude and I'm misbehaving when I've done nothing to make him say that. He says I won't get jobs anywhere I go and that people will say I've changed, and compares me to my white neighbor just because he went to university and hasn't done what I'm doing, bearing in mind he's in his 20s. He gaslights me by using religion and tells me that it's a sin to have my hair in an afro and that God won't like what I'm doing. He also uses my twin sister to gaslight me and regularly compares me to her. I know it's just hair, but I feel like crying and feel so empty because he's telling me to cut it by next week, and if I don't he'll do it himself. I feel so depressed right now, I just don't know what to do. Edit. Sorry if I don't reply to everyone's comments, but I really do appreciate everyone that is helping me. Thank you so much, heart. Grow those locks long and proud. How could your natural state of being be a sin to God? Who else gave you such beautiful hair? Ignore them. Black hair is beautiful in its natural state and is professional. I'm so sorry that they feel they can control your appearance just because you're living with them. Would they be open to other styles that could still keep and protect the length you've worked so hard for? I really hope your father doesn't cut your hair. Maybe it's time to move out if and when you can. Post this over at r/blackhair for more affirming advice. I'm a really old white guy, but this reminds me of when my brother and I had an argument with our dad about growing our hair long rather than getting crew cuts. I was in high school and college in the 1970s, and afros were the prevailing hairstyle for young black people. Hairstyles come and go, and there is no permanent harm from being stylish. You aren't facing eternal damnation from having long hair. He gaslights me by using religion and tells me that it's a sin to have my hair in an afro and that God won't like what I'm doing. If he's Christian, I'm going to need to see the Bible verse he's referring to, because as far as I know Jesus never said a word about anyone's hair. I think that he is projecting a standard that was forced on him in his youth. The controversy over wearing your hair, natural, is still ongoing. But I am happy to tell you, current culture is on your side. Wear your hair however you like it. And if he thinks that is inappropriate, I would ask him why he is ashamed of his own culture? Why can't he wear his hair proudly? He is the only person with a problem. No one else is going to think less of you for being yourself. You're fighting a battle you can't win right now. You'll have plenty of time to grow your hair out when you're older and aren't dependent on him anymore. Part of growing up is learning to recognize when you aren't in control of a situation and accepting it. He gaslights me by using religion and tells me that it's a sin to have my hair in an afro and that God won't like what I'm doing. Fuck that. If God didn't want you to have that hair, he would have made you bald. Having your hair like that is an intrinsic part of black identity too. Ask your dad what this is really about. I bet you there's some shit he doesn't want to discuss. Stay powerful. Your dad's wrong, but unfortunately we live in a culture of anti-blackness and he's perpetuating it. Your hair is beautiful the way it grows out of your head.